Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm at Original Feelings here in Berlin. If you'd like to practice these classes with music, there's a Spotify playlist in the description. Otherwise, you can enjoy the silence and move along with me. Welcome to a safe class. This class is quite slow and quite precious because safety is what we need to take our armor off and investigate what's underneath, which is my hope and my goal for this practice. For this practice, you just need your hejhej bolster and a smile. So we'll get started on our toes, and I'll turn to show you, but we really want to make sure that all 10 toes are tucked. So you can grab them and pull them, but I like to just lean onto them, wiggle to ground them, and then lightly touch my knees back to the ground to make sure that they're really tucked. And then you'll take your bolster and you'll take some of the pressure off of the toes by placing the bolster between your buttocks and your ankles. And then once you're in this position, go ahead and soften the eyes, let the hands come to the thighs. Soften the whole face, soften the belly. And you start to soften the breath. And you just watch how the body follows as you slow everything internally, so that the external softens as well. And you'll start to notice this coolness or tingling in the feet. And I like this pose because it's a reminder that our feet is our resource. They're how we gain information and energy from the earth, pull it back up into our bodies. So despite the agitation or the discomfort, you reshape your relationship with this feeling in the feet. Instead of thinking that this is a painful stretch, it's actually the muscles and the tendons and the bones rejoicing that we're taking some of the pressure off. And let your breath go all the way to the bottom of the belly. And let the exhales take as long as they need to take. And then lift the corners of the mouth for a slight smile. Just notice what changes. And then you'll take your hands behind yourself, interlace them, and press the heart away from the fists. And while you're here, I'm just going to turn so you can see what's next, but keep sending your heart up and your fists down. And then after your next breath, you'll take your fists by bending the elbows all the way over to the left hip, and then you'll take your left ear down to your left shoulder. You'll feel such a nice stretch between the right earlobe all the way through the right shoulder. And see if you can breathe into the right lung as well as the right side of the neck. Just aid that sensation. And we open up our neck so that any blockages between our root system below and our belief system above can finally be taken away and we're fully connected again. One more breath, again, practicing with a smile. And then one inhale takes the vision up, the chin lifts, and then you find your fists on the right hip again. The right ear goes to the right shoulder, and it's nice to close the eyes because, again, we're often so external. We keep this hardness on because of everything coming at us from outward, but when you close the eyes, you soften the body, you can start to express things from the inside outward. You feel more of the aliveness that happens underneath the skin. And if you've forgotten to breathe or forgotten to keep the breath deep, then again, relax the body so that the body can receive the breath rather than forcing it in. And then you'll take the hands behind you, lift the heart, take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, you'll take the bolster in front of you and you'll keep the toes lifted. So find a tabletop close the eyes, keep the feet lifted, and tune into whatever's going on in the feet. Maybe there's a slight sensation of electricity or buzzing, or you might even notice a color inside of the toes or behind the eyelids. Another reminder of everything happening on the inside. And then so slowly you'll come onto the tops of the feet. You'll sit on your heels and your hands will come behind you, and then you'll just start to lift one leg at a time, now cracking open the top of the foot. So here in Berlin, we are having an oddly cold summer, but when it was warm, it's a nice reminder that after boot season and after keeping our feet inside of these harder, heavier shoes, that we can regain our whole foot again. Not only to take up the information and energy from the earth, but to use the full platform of the part that holds us up. And so you'll take a few more rounds with just one leg at a time, or if you're a sensation seeker, you can start to do both at one time. And again, keeping this idea of safety, if it feels right, you can practice coming up all the way to the very tops of the toes. And it might sound like popcorn, but that's a good thing. And then afterwards, you'll let yourself back down. You'll crawl it forward and grab your bolster. And this class is sometimes almost like a dance with the props, so you'll be playing with this bolster quite a bit. Take it to the middle of your mat, and then we'll be going into restorative crocodile by taking the very front of the hips, the hip bones, to the very front of the bolster, so that your belly has some space between it and the ground, or you can at least feel it opening and suspended in some way. And then you'll lay the head down. The arms can go however they'd like to, and the hips will be the precipice of the pose. Everything else surrenders to gravity. And so can you start to focus on the layer of your being that's beneath the body, which is the layer of breath, pranamaya kosha. Feel your belly traveling to the earth or pressing into the mat with every inhale. And feel your spine returning with gravity on every exhale. And again, this is a practice where we can take the armor off and look at what's underneath. So laying on the belly is a nice way to feel protected, because the most vulnerable bits of you, the organs and the belly, as well as the heart space, are protected by the earth that holds you. And then if your head is turned one way, you'll pick it up and turn it the other. Neutralize the spine. And when you tune into the sensation of safety, as well as protection, without any judgment, you just notice what comes up. What passes behind the eyelids when you tell yourself, I'm safe. And I often cue to raise the corners of the mouth to a little smile. Again, my favorite yoga prop. Because there's these subtle sensations that come from such a small act like a smile. So for your next few breaths, can you not only feel a smile on the face, but can you let the whole body feel the sensation of a smile? One more breath. Noticing the calm that comes with a present heart. And then you'll slowly start to find your hands just by your shoulders or your lowest ribs. And you can keep the eyes closed as you push yourself up through a supported upward-facing dog. And because it's supported, you can let go of the butt cheeks, you can let go of the back, and you can just start to lift the heart a tiny bit higher than the shoulders. Lift your chin as high as it will go. Open up the collarbones in the front of the neck, the part of the body that you use to express yourself. And then you can make a funny face. You can stick the tongue out or do a few lion's breaths, but again, take some tension all the way out of the eyebrows and the ears and the jaw. And hopefully you're in the privacy of your own home, so you can be as silly as you'd like. But then you'll start to bring the hips back towards the heels and slide the bolster just a touch forward so that your elbows and forearms are lifted and your head can bow. And you feel a lengthening all the way through the lowest part of the spine and the sacrum, up through the back of the neck and the outsides of the shoulders. And child's pose is a pose of connection as well as protection. It's a bow to the earth to connect with what holds you. And you're protected by the hard shell of your back. So as you bow to the stuff that you're made from, and you're protected from everything coming at you, again, can you just look at what's underneath the armor? What parts of you are asking for a little extra attention? And a lot of the armor that we put around our heart is not only mental, but quite physical. So can you notice what parts of you are still holding on to tension? Is it the belly, the back, the arms, or again the face that's holding on? And for a few exhales, can you just surrender into gravity? And as always, this last breath is with a smile. And you'll start to walk your hands back towards your body. Keep the eyes closed. And take a moment to let your hands slide up your thighs. Feel your edges where your body is firm or soft, warm or cool. And then your right hand lands on the belly and the left hand lands on the heart. You feel the heartbeat underneath the left hand and the rhythm of the breath underneath the right. And from your palms, again, you just give this sensation of safety to whatever parts of you are still feeling a bit vulnerable. And when you're ready, you can flutter open the eyes. Welcome back. And we'll come to a seat on our bolster now. And in this seat, you want to be as far forward on the bolster where it feels like you're about to slide off. And with your hips at the very front edge, you'll lay yourself back, extend your feet forward, arms wide, and you're in the shape of a giant arc. Hips are at the very top of the pose, and for a moment, you can just let the body again relax all the way down towards the mat. And if you're feeling any tension in the lower back, you might just need to scoot the hips back a bit further, because you don't want to have your hips too far forward that the bolster is actually just pressing on the kidneys or any other nerves behind the spine. And you just let go. And you might start to imagine that with every inhale, the earth is rising up to hold you. With every exhale, you surrender into that hold. And then as this is such a vulnerable pose, our heart and our bellies are quite exposed, you can remember that you've got this loving and this compassion inside of you. And you might start to invite that into the body or the heart space. Whatever brings an extra level of calm into your experience. And we'll be here for one more breath. Can you let the exhale be as long as it needs to be? And allow your body to hold on empty for just a moment or two. Feel the essence of absolutely nothing. Complete stillness. Before you let the body receive another breath. And then you'll take your right knee in towards you. And you've got two options here. If this is already enough sensation for you, go ahead and stay right here. Otherwise, you can straighten the leg and pull on the back of the calf or the back of the thigh to stretch out the back of the leg. And this is one of my preferred ways of doing it because we've got this energy line that runs all the way from the back of our heel, up our legs, behind our spine, through our head. And this energy line is related to emotional fluidity. So this is why stretching the back of the legs can be too sensational sometimes because there's quite a few emotions that ride with it. So if that's where you want your intention for this experience, soften the eyes, soften the face, pull that straight leg towards you. And again, with non-judgment, you just notice what comes up. We're here for a few more breaths. You might practice presence by just counting your breaths down from 3 to 0. you just notice where you're at when you finally reach 0. And then you'll take your right hand to the outer blade of your right foot, where you can find your peace fingers on your right big toe. And we'll be going into a half happy baby, pulling the knee into the armpit. And they're the same shape, so you realize that your body is made of these puzzle pieces that are supposed to fit together. And it can be, of course, quite sensational. And once you've got that grip and that yearn of knee towards armpit, you're going to let the foot fall a bit towards the right side. And notice how my left hip is starting to come up, so that we not only use our props and our muscles for our experience, but we can let gravity do a bit of the work for us. So feel this slight pull on the back of the left hip, as well as the front and the inside of the left thigh, and you might even turn your head away from your right foot. And this is certainly sensational, so we can nurture the heart by, again, practicing presence. Presence always starts with where you're at, so is there an emotion in you that's speaking loud right now? Is there a sensation in the body or a desire to let go of the foot? You just notice. Without attachment to pleasure, you just practice presence. And begin to notice any of the tiny changes happening in the body. Maybe your right foot is going a bit closer to the ground. Maybe there's a letting go of the belly or the hip. And again, if you want to practice a soft smile, you might let that change your experience for another breath or two. And then you'll slowly let the right leg rebend, bring it back into the center, and then take your left hand to your right knee, and you're just going to drag the knee over the left hip, so it's really not a huge movement at all. And you're just trying to stretch out the very outside and backside of the right hip for a few breaths, not here for too long. And then you'll extend the right leg again. You'll hug now the left knee, pushing the right heel away from you just to extend the right side body again. And then you've got those two options. You can stay here, knee to chest, or you can straighten the leg, again, finding the calf muscle or the back of the thigh. And I love doing asymmetrical poses because you get to see which side is more open and which isn't. And then you respond to your asymmetry, again, with this loving or compassion that's inside of you. And once you find your sweet spot, again, maybe you soften the eyes. You let gravity start to pull the knee or the leg closer to you. And we open up this energy line for emotional fluidity, because feelings are an invitation to understand our thoughts a bit deeper. So if any emotions arise, instead of reacting to them, can you just be present, as if you were sitting with a friend for tea and you just respond to whatever the feelings are saying. For just a few more breaths. When you're ready, you'll take the left hand again to the outer blade of the left foot, or peace fingers to big toe. Half happy baby. Again, yearning knee into armpit, trying to find that puzzle piece fit before you start to let the left foot fall to its own side. Let the right hip start to come up just a touch. And if it feels better to maybe just hold on to your ankle, or a part of the body that's a bit more available to you, you can do so. But as the sensations of this pose arise, and they certainly do, we nurture the heart in another way by seeking goodness. So when discomfort arises, such as the discomfort you might feel in this pose, you counteract any negativity by seeing goodness. So did you hear a bird song today? The wind in the trees, or did you see a flower on its last days? Allow sensation to be there and take your mind to a different place of goodness. And again, you may just turn your head away from your foot, opening up the back of the neck. And for your next 2 breaths, raise the corners of your mouth again to a slight smile. Soften the whole body so that just the fingers are the part of you that's holding on. And then you'll start to bring the foot back in just as we did earlier. You'll extend the left leg, you'll stretch the body long, and then place your palms on the ground by the bolster, and you'll bring your knees up above you and then let them fall into the belly, an upside down child's pose. So the hips are elevated, supporting the lengthening of the lower back. And you can let the palms be up, knees coming towards you, just with the forces of gravity and body weight. Or if safety really is the goal today, you can make this little cage around your thighs. Behind the knees, let the calves come back onto you, and it's like you're in this little cocoon of your own warmth and your own loving. And we'll be here for just a few breaths. And if you choose this option of having the arms behind you, again, just like a smile has the ability to change your experience, so does a hug. So if you're taking this hug, can you give or receive love to yourself for a moment? And then you'll let this next breath be the biggest, letting the belly press into the thighs. And gravity takes the exhale out for you. And then you'll unravel the body. You'll take the heels back to the ground. And you'll lift up the butt just enough that you can push the bolster away from you. And you'll let it come just under your knees. And so we'll take a stretch here that requires your knees to be on the bolster. You'll take the right knee towards you, and then we're going to twist the whole body over to the left. So notice how my left foot came off of the ground. Make sure that the knee feels safe and protected by the bolster. And then you'll bend your right foot to touch the bolster and really press the right knee into the ground. And with the lift of the left leg and a rotation of the right wrist back down on the mat, reaching towards the bolster, you let the twist go just into the very lowest part of the back on the right side of the spine. And your head can turn over to the right side. But the goal here is to make sure that the knee is touching the ground, because contact equals nurture. And so you don't want it just floating. So if your knee is floating and your arm can't go back, you'll just press the knee down and take your right hand to your right hip so that at least there's some loving touch, even if the twist isn't as deep. And we're here not as long, but enough time to let the body go and see what might be twisting out of the organs, the belly, or rushing through the blood. And twists are where we can really identify our armor. The body holds on to so much tension to protect us from discomfort that it thinks is going to happen. So see what happens when you really surrender on an exhale and let gravity have you, and your body can experience the fullness of this pose. And for your last few breaths, can you inhale all the way down the spine to the tailbone? Let the exhale travel up the spine, out the top of the head, cleansing your system with prana. 2 more times. And then you'll gently let yourself roll back to the back. And then you'll grab the right knee or the right thigh, and instead of tugging to you, you just press the right hip right back down into the ground. So it's not about sensation in a stretching way, but sensation of safety and security as the right hip joint finds the ground again. Just for another breath. And then you'll take the right leg out, grab the left knee with the right hand, and then again, you let the whole body roll to the right. Tuck your left foot to touch the bolster, press your right knee into the ground, and then you unravel that back hand, palm up, back towards the mat. Or if the knee is floating up, you just roll to your right side again and let your left hand hang on your left hip. And piece by piece, you keep taking the armor off. So can one breath relax the belly? Can the next breath relax the back? And the next relaxes the hips? And so on until every breath is an act of faith that you are safe and that your body is being taken care of. And then you bring that little smile back to the face. You let the sensation of that smile travel all the way down to the toes. And for your last 3 breaths again, you inhale down the spine. You exhale up the spine, out the top of the head, through this little window in your crown that allows the cosmos to enter through you. And on your last breath, you come right back to center. You press the knee or the thigh down so that the hip again is grounded straight into the earth. Safety, security, stillness. And then you'll take your feet to your bolster now, and you'll take them quite wide so that your knees can touch in the middle and there's a slight rounding to your back. And then you'll take your arms across your chest and you'll just give yourself a hug. And with the entirety of your spine touching the mat and an embrace around yourself, we have the opportunity to nurture the heart again, this time by expressing love. So maybe you bring to mind someone who's very dear to you or someone you love. You let that love come back into the body to fill up all the space beneath the skin. And you just express love their way. Whether they know they received it or not, you know that it's there. And as you extend love, again, you just enjoy the calm and the good that comes with the present heart. And you can stay just as you are for shavasana, but If you'd like, the bolster is conveniently located beneath the thighs or knees again. You can let one hand come to the heart, one hand come to the belly, and we'll stay here for shavasana. Resting in safe, loving awareness. And you're free to press pause and take a longer shavasana if needed. Otherwise, you'll gently make your way to a seat, letting the hands be somewhere meaningful or in a meaningful way like prayer. You take one last moment of gratitude for this practice. What brought you here, what you'll take away. And I certainly hope to see you again. Thank you for joining. And if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, there's extra information about me and the studio in the description, so please check it out and I'll see you again.